What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Awake and Sober Podcast, a podcast about life and recovery through Christ. Today we'll be discussing, among several things, stages of recovery.
Stages of recovery.
Stages of recovery.
Yeah. I really thought it was going to say recovery and denial.
Recovery, denial. I mean, it's everything. Yeah.
Well, I mean, would it be a National Recovery Month and Suicide Awareness or Prevention Month? I think it fits well.
I agree.
So, I know I told you I was going to interrupt you, but I didn't really plan on it by the time it all started.
You didn't.
No, man, I got sidetracked. I'm telling you, with all these buttons and loud, my ADD goes crazy over here.
I can see that.
So, Derek.
What's up?
How are you, my brother?
Doing all right this week, man. This week is good. I'm getting ready for another week at work, and that just these 3 days off, man. It's really I find the time to actually sit back and relax and able to clear my mind of everything. And it's good.
So you're saying that it's good for the soul, those 3 days in a row?
It is so good for the soul. All is well with my soul.
All is well with my soul. Well, Jeremy.
Sir.
How are you doing, my brother? I mean, I pulled up today and you were kind of like in a frenzy. Oh, yeah. But how are you overall?
I'm better now. Yeah. I wish buying and selling a house was just easy.
Mm-hmm. It is. If you just like pay attention, read documents and those kind of things.
Whatever.
Ask questions.
Yes. No, it's that buying the house isn't really, that's stressful. I don't like the whole packing up everything.
Oh, that part is rough.
That's the part I don't like.
Yeah.
It just takes so much time, and it's like, why do we have all this stuff? And then we'll get rid of half the stuff, and then 6 months later, we have all the stuff back again. And that's frustrating. But
yeah, I've looked at my house recently and I'm like, how did we get all this, man? Because when we moved from where we moved to where we're at now, I got rid of tons of stuff. I mean, I got rid of a closet full of clothes alone and then got rid of everything else. Now I'm looking at my garage, and I know the extra room in the basement right now is full of Reclaiming Hope furniture, ready to move in. Yeah. So as soon as I could get rid of like all the office stuff and all that for Reclaiming Hope and get it in the building, that'd be nice. But yeah, you're going to have fun.
Yeah. And I want to give you a shout out too, because like, I hate getting emotional. But like you stop in and pray with me, because you knew I was, it's been a stressful morning to say the least. Even the church, the service this morning was excellent. Exactly what we needed to hear, I think, as a family. But, things not going the way that I expect them to go. And so that's frustrating. With that being said, this will be the last episode recorded in my house.
The studio.
Yeah.
Studio.
Yeah, this studio goes bye-bye. Because it's going to be packed up and shipped off. But your new place we're going to be able to have a studio there.
We will have an actual studio.
Yeah.
/ cigar lounge.
Oh, you're going to put the cigar lounge in the same place?
Oh, yeah. Well,
so recovery and cigars. I mean, that always sounds good to me.
Derek, we did discuss how we can open up a sober cigar bar with Reclaiming Hope.
Look,
we looked up how much money it would cost. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah. But those air filters are
those are not cheap.
Are just crazy. Well, I'm excited about today's episode for sure. Actually, I guess I'm excited about most of them, but get to talk about recovery, going to talk about denial, and a little bit about mental health as well. So, and with that, what is recovery?
Recovery is a process of change through which individuals improve their health, wellness, and strive to reach their full potential. I like the way that starts off. Process.
We all love that word.
When I was doing the definitions, that popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, seriously?
Well, I mean, think of the stages of change, right? Or the stages of recovery that you said at the beginning. It's all about everything is about a process. Mm-hmm. It's all about a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. There's your
definition for that.
My cliche saying, right?
Yes.
So Jeremy can make fun of me and say, "Let's have a blanket party with Shane."
There we go.
So
I did say stages of recovery, but it is stages of change. I mean, you could use this in any area of your life.
Yeah. It's stages of change. We'll go through them all, and it will touch on them because if anybody wants to know more of the stages of change, they can look them up. We're going to talk more probably practical application of recovery, how to get involved and how to really change your life. To us, it's all steps.
Yeah. Yep.
It's Jesus and it's steps. That's the two. But some people out there aren't steppers. They don't want to do a 12-step meeting, so.
I just think we need to come up with a shirt that just straight up says process. You know, have the awaken sober symbol on the side or whatnot, but it say process across the front.
So if anybody out there does shirts, that's what we're
Yes.
looking for.
Anybody out there does shirts.
And they could get a hold of us at what? Info at what?
Info at awakensober.org. That's
Okay. All right.
info at awakensober.org. It's pretty easy.
It is easy.
I think that and know your why would be another one of our shirts. To know your why. We have
Man,
a pattern for that.
I love that graphic. I love using it anytime that I can. So
Anyway, stages of change or recovery.
yeah.
Okay, since we got a little sidetrack, give us the definition of recovery again, D.
It is a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness and strive to reach their full potential.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So if we're going to look at it, what is the goal of recovery? Not the definition, but what was your goal getting into recovery?
To reach my full potential in a better life.
What was your goal?
I was tired of living the way I was living.
Tired of living. And see, for me, it was life change, right? I wanted to finally do something different. I was tired of that, but I think that was what I needed to experience for me was life change. I just knew I needed a complete overhaul. So
Yeah.
the why, I guess since you brought up know your why,
Know your why.
the why is important. If you're thinking about getting into recovery, why? Why do you want it? We have to be able to keep that at the forefront. I think otherwise we're going to lose focus and lose why we're doing it. Different types of recovery, maybe?
Like from different addictions?
We could do that.
Or
Different fellowships, different types of recovery, mental health, substance use. You got physical therapy. You got emotional.
when you
we got
recover
so
from
many.
emotional trauma, physical trauma.
Yep.
I think everybody, we recover from our old sinful self, bringing it back to Jesus. We recover from our old sinful self by turning ourselves over to God.
Now we're starting to talk, huh?
Yeah.
So one thing I love about the program is Celebrate Recovery. It really encompasses everything. It's not the fellowship of AA. It's not the fellowship of NA or CAHA or any of them. We all need recovery from something. Our sinful nature, alcohol, sex addiction, you name it. We all need recovery. And so there's places out there that everybody could go, like a Celebrate Recovery. But if you look up, what are the different 12-step programs out there? That list is ridiculously long.
Yeah.
Of every kind of not really addiction, but just things that interfere with our lives.
Yeah. You got the basic ones: Al-Anon, AA, cocaine's Cocaine Anonymous.
Cocaine Anonymous,
Yeah.
Heroin Anonymous.
Adult, what is it? Adult, what is it? The
Adult children of
alcoholics.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. It's everything.
So I brought it into a church when I was giving a message one Sunday, and I had a list of it up. It was ridiculously long. I couldn't put them all up there, and I had to make the slide really small because of all the different 12-step meetings that there are.
Yeah.
Different types.
It just goes to show 12 steps seem to work if there's so many programs are using a 12-step process in order to get sober in whatever it is they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
What's the key in getting sober? What is the main key?
The only thing that needs to change is everything.
But what's the one thing you need?
Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus. It all goes back to Jesus. It's a process to get to Jesus.
Yes, there you go.
Well, that's the easy process to get to Jesus. We just have to be willing to do so.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But that's it. Across all 12 steps, it always points to God. No matter what, it points to God. And every step, whether you're Christ-centered, secular, whatever, it all points to God. whether it's Jesus for us or if it's a God of your understanding. And I know I talk about it each week. If you don't have a higher power, find something. Something has to be greater than you. But it all points back to God. Without God, you're not going to experience the life change you've been looking for.
No, I think even Jeremy shared it one time back. One thing that he noticed the people with long-term sobriety that all have in common is their walk with a relationship with Christ.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
They're all very, everybody I know with long-term sobriety has a spiritual relationship with God. Everyone I know. And your concept of God might be different than my concept of God, but it's still something that's bigger than you or I.
And that's it. It has to start somewhere. It don't have to be Jesus. How we believe it don't have to be that. I wish it were to be that, but that will change and manifest as you grow anyway. So just get something greater than you for right now.
And the thing that's like one of my pet peeves is they're like, if that door handle is your higher power, just make that your higher power. It's like, no, I could break that door handle, right? And then, am I just going to replace it? Like, your God is irreplaceable, right?
God is irreplaceable, and I agree. Not a door handle, but it's the group. And I've seen that
Good orderly
work for
direction,
people for a
group of
while.
dogs.
Yeah. So it could be the group, it could be nature, it could be many of things. But if we sit back, and we talked about it last week, so I don't want to stay on it too long, but if you think, if you are the greatest thing, like there's nothing higher than you, nothing greater than you out there, then you have a bigger problem than
drugs or alcohol.
Yes.
Or drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would look at it. But yes, please find that higher power. There's a reason why the fellowship of AA has been around for so long, and then it turned into so many different things because it works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going to AA meetings that I've been going to lately, I could come to see. I'm coming to gather the insight on how people could see the group as being a higher power to get started.
Yeah,
because there is a spiritual opening in those meetings, man. They may not be preaching God like I like to hear, but at the same time, there is a powerful thing about going to these meetings that everybody gathering together.
My sponsor always said, take what you want and leave the rest.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if somebody disagrees with my concept of God, I can't judge that person. I have to accept that, So
that's their problem, not your problem.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Why do they got to be the ones that disagree with what you think? Aren't you disagreeing with what they think?
No, because we don't need to say that.
Yeah, I don't. I just accept that.
Yeah, I mean, we're to judge other Christians, but not judge unbelievers. So,
but I do think that you bring up a good point, because that's the support that individual needs. Like like what Derek was saying, you feel that spirituality in a group, in a good meeting.
In a good meeting, yes,
that's
you do.
Like that's the support that they need right now to kind of continue to go on this journey.
So I'll say, you sent something. When you're out fishing, thinking about God, and if you're in church, thinking about fishing. You said that the other day.
Yeah, difference between spirituality and religion.
So I would say a lot of spirituality happens in the rooms of AA, NA, all those fellowships, without a doubt. There are some people that believe in Jesus and are on fire for Jesus that won't step foot in the church. Mm-hmm. Maybe because of a wound, maybe because of whatever it might be. But they have Jesus. They understand what it's like to live in hell, and they understand what it's like to be free in Christ. So those rooms, yeah, I could see. I mean, it's filled with the Spirit in a lot of those rooms.
Yes.
So,
all right. So moving along.
My beard keeps getting caught in this text. it's annoying.
I bet so.
It's not annoying for you though, is it?
No, that's why I enjoy being the beardless wonder, because I don't have to worry about my beard.
I need a mic like Shane has, so that way it doesn't keep getting caught. But anyway,
well, you could get you one.
Yeah, not right now. I can't.
I mean, you're only buying a house; they won't mind.
No.
Amy
Put
might
that on credit. Yeah, no.
Amy will kill you, but
Yeah, I don't need to give her another reason.
right. So, Derek, what were you going to do?
We'll do about what?
You said so. Moving on. I thought.
Oh yeah, well, we were discussing the different types of as we're talking about understanding recovery, the different types, and we're talking about the different types of therapy. We go to psychiatrists for our own mental health. We go to primary care, for our physical health. But then also, what about the home? Your family having a solid place to, when you come into the recovery at first, there's got to be that recovery for the whole household. Back to the whole family thing as we do at Reclaiming Hope. It's all about the whole family. I wanted to bring that up, so it's not just about the one person in recovery as it is the whole family.
Yeah, I
Recovery
agree.
is not a spectator sport.
Eventually, the entire family gets to play.
There you go.
It is true. It is true. Even though they don't want to play, they get thrown in anyway. They thought they were going to be the water boy, and nope.
Water boy.
They're right on the line of scrimmage. As football was on today.
It's that time of year, guys. It's football season. So
Oh yeah, today, opening.
Yeah, football was on when I walked down here. I'm like, I don't watch it. Come on.
Yeah.
I got better things to do. Let's talk podcast.
yeah, I took over your TV when nobody else was down here. Watched the football.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So we do need it for the whole household. The problem with that, the people that didn't choose to be part of the disease of addiction are so mad and bitter that they don't really want to be a part of the recovery yet. So it's hard to get them involved right away. And I will tell you, if you are going into treatment and you are looking at getting help, focus on you. Don't tell your significant other at home that they need to get some help.
No.
Because they're going to look at you and be like, you're the problem, you go, and my life will get better. If you show progress and you show that life change, they will want what you have, and they will be willing to receive messages, usually not from you, but from maybe a therapist that you're seeing, maybe somebody at the treatment center for family time. Introduce it properly, because the whole family does need help.
To come to, talking about at work, and that the family wellness group that we hold on Wednesdays has actually grown. It's a good sized group of individuals now. And these are the family members of the people that actually work in the recovery. They're learning how to work their own recovery outside of it. So there is programs for the family.
Yep.
Don't sit there dumbfounded when somebody does something when you could have learned somewhere else.
What do you guys believe is the society's view of addiction recovery? How do you believe society views addiction or addiction recovery?
As a choice. I think most of society still views it as a choice. And that those struggling with addiction are weak. Because you still hear it. Well, you chose, you make the choice to use, you make the choice to use. And yes, at the beginning, we did make a choice. We made a choice to put something in our body that 95% of everybody has tried. But unfortunately, we have that chemical in our brain that's off. That all of a sudden now we're addicted. And now we can't put it down. Don't you think if we could, we would? So, I don't know. Deez, how do you think society sees it?
Really, it's a choice. And the sad thing is, I even recognize it today. The church, a lot of times when they talk about really recovery and stuff like that, still see it as it being a choice, which I feel, like you said, the first time we used, that was a choice. But once that disease starts, acting, all we do is trigger the disease to actually take place, and it starts taking over us. And that's where it comes. I mean, I do have to agree. We do have that choice to take that first drink. But once that happens.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of like heart disease, we had the choice to make. We made choices that a lot of times leads to that.
Right.
Diabetes, we made choices that a lot of times
Lung
leads
cancer.
to that. Almost every kind of disease that there is, we contributed by making a choice.
But we don't look at it like that.
But this is the one disease that they say you're weak.
Yeah.
But if every other disease, we made a choice, not every, but the majority of the diseases.
When somebody says they have cancer, and it could be from smoking cigarettes for 2 million years, nobody says we blame the cigarettes. They blame cancer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cancer's fault. Don't blame that person for what they did. Let's blame cancer. Let's blame diabetes.
Or they'll blame the cigarette manufacturer,
Everybody.
everything, but they won't look at that person as weak. And I'm glad they don't. They shouldn't. But we have to view addiction the same way.
Amen.
We made a conscious choice. I made the choice at 8 years old. Did I know I was going to turn out to be the person that I turned out to be by using it at the age of 8? Did I really think it would manifest into 31 years of active addiction? No, I didn't. And I would have loved for it not to, but if I didn't, then I wouldn't be sitting here today with two great people that I love dearly.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, good things came out of it, but yeah, we wouldn't make the choices. I mean, it's not like we woke up and said, I want to be an addict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I shared. I remember telling my old man when I was in high school, I was like, "You can quit if you want to quit. Just quit. Just quit." And then God's got a funny way of saying, "Oh yeah, buddy. Remember when you told your dad there?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think one of the
Didn't work out for him.
no, I think one of the issues though too is we get back into the mental health part of everything is that co-occurring that if we admit the fact that alcohol is a problem, that it's a disease that we're dealing with, or drugs, whatever it is, what drove us to that point that we were using?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that depression, that anxiety, trauma of some kind that's happened to us that we run and hide from inside the drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So once we could start admitting that this is a disease that we got to work on what triggered this disease, and then people don't want to have to look into that. I think that's another thing with society is not admitting the depression and anxiety and issues like that.
Well, we have to fix the source of that. We have to find the source of that depression. We have to find the source of that anxiety, and then we have to start working on that. We always focus so much on the problem and not the solution.
Right.
It all starts with a good 4-step.
Well, yeah, and it always comes back to that in almost every podcast we have. But it is literally about cleaning up the wreckage from your past.
If you don't do it, everything will stay exactly
Everything
the same way it
stays.
is. Man, I love a 4-step. I don't know why people are so afraid of it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I actually brought it up at work the other day, and a lady actually stepped up and went through a subject of that she was wanting that she needed to do her 4-step on, and we went through it, and she started noticing, and like, okay, yeah, so I did get depressed over that situation. I had felt a certain way because of what's happened, and okay, so here's your character defects. All right, so what do we do with these? All right, you talk to everybody here. You need to talk to your sponsor. Then you're starting to willing to recognize these character defects. Now we're gonna have to give them up and keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. It was actually a good lesson. It actually lasted a whole hour and a half. I was impressed.
Wow. See,
That's a first.
Right?
and there's people born with mental health issues that it was the mental health issue that drove them to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were people that had a trauma happen to them that caused the mental health to flare up, but also caused them to drink, right? And so once we start unpacking all those things, we can figure out where we land. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was a trauma that led into everything else. And for a lot of people, it is. Most things we could trace back to some kind of trauma, because all of us have a different trauma, threshold that we could tolerate that's okay for our body. But most of it gets traced back to something. And once we figure it out, it's such a fun roadmap to look at.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing is that you got those individuals, I think they were so big and bad in their youth that when something happened to them, that they were able to stuff that away, that it hasn't bothered them supposedly all these years. But when it comes down to it, once you do that 4-step and you realize, oh, wait, I'm still dealing with the same issue that happened when I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You just numbed yourself to it for so long, you don't recognize it. Now that you're sober, you're recognizing it more.
Yeah, it's a pain.
It can be.
So let's talk about the stages of recovery. Stages of recovery: pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, and maintenance. Maintenance.
Yeah, it's well, let's start where it is at the beginning anyway. So pre-contemplation.
Pre-contemplation, in this stage, individuals may not realize that they have a problem. They may be in denial or unaware of the severity of their situation. What's that big word?
Not a river in Egypt.
No, not that word. I'm talking about what we were talking about earlier today. I want to hear him say it.
I don't have it in front of me now. Anasa nausea. Nasa nausea.
Yes.
Nasa. I don't know. She said it a couple different ways. Anasa nausea.
And what
Which is
that?
what?
The denial or not having the insight to your denial of having a mental health issue.
So it's denying that you have any issues wrong with you.
Pretty much.
What is denial?
River in Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was coming. Denial is refusing to admit the truth or reality of something unpleasant. So, I mean, they may be refusing to admit the truth or reality of the use of the mental health.
Of anything, yeah. I mean,
I was working in the programs that we work in, and I'm sure we see a lot of denial, right? So we do that. We do an assessment when somebody comes in for the first time, right? They had one of the questions is, do you not feel your illnesses are being taken seriously? Have you ever had somebody sit there and say, I don't have an illness when you ask that question?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What illnesses? I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, I don't get no illnesses.
about. Well, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you been here?
Right.
only 5.
Yeah.
I got 2 more before we consider me a frequent flyer.
And nothing wrong with people who've been to multiple treatment centers because I'm included. But
Lots of people have been to multiple.
Yes.
But it's like when they come in, they don't want to surrender and listen. They just want to come in and try to tell you how to do what you're doing.
yes.
So
That's what I love about people that's been to 4 or 5 different places. And they come in and start acting like they're going to start teaching the group.
Oh, I love those people. Yeah. Yeah. The pre-contemplation stage is just kind of like, people are, it's like you coming up to me and telling me I have a problem where I'm saying, no, I don't. I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, when family members, when friends, loved ones, co-workers are saying something to you that you might have a problem and you say you don't, it's that one thing where it's like when 4 out of 5 people are telling you that you have a problem and the only person who doesn't think that they have a problem is you, then maybe
you have
maybe.
a problem.
Yes.
You might be a redneck.
You might be a redneck.
I don't know why that sounded just like it fit there,
Jeff
but it
Fox,
did.
Yeah.
But it did. That's for sure.
That was definitely, yeah.
What's the second stage of recovery, D?
Ooh.
Contemplation. Individuals start to recognize they have a problem and begin consider making a change. However, they may still feel oblivion or unsure.
Ambivalent.
Whatever, dude. That's what I said.
Excuse me, sir.
Rewind the tape. What did
This
he
is
say?
recovery, man. This is not English class.
Hey, Derek, can
Get on
you,
your side of the
before
street.
you continue, will you do me a favor?
So,
Anonymity.
no,
No, he had to say that word yesterday. It was hilarious.
no.
He's fun because he said that he learned how to say it finally, so I wanted to catch him on air.
And they're unsure about taking action.
Oh, thank you, Derek. Thank
Love you, D.
With brothers like y'all,
Yeah, with friends like you, I don't need enemies.
right?
Ambivalent is having mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone.
So, what is it about the contemplation stage that really helps them? Like moving them from pre-contemplation to contemplation.
At least they're starting to recognize they have an issue that they need to reach into, even if it is just the sobriety part of it, not the actual full recovery. They are recognizing they do have something they got to work on.
Yeah, some of them become at least willing to talk about it, but not really willing to do much else.
Yeah, I was thinking about the word consider in there. That's the word that stuck out to me, and it's like you're giving careful thought over like a period of time about, well, maybe I do need to do something about this.
You're thinking about thinking instead of being willing about being willing.
Hey, there you go.
You're being willing to just take a look at it.
Yeah, you're making excuses and not a plan as of yet
Mm-hmm.
in the contemplation stage.
But then next, preparation.
Preparation. In this stage of change, individuals decide to change and start planning their course of action. They may seek help, gather information, or set goals.
You would have to have a pretty big goal setting person in preparation to be setting goals. I don't know many people, I tell you, they have gotten into recovery that are at preparation that worked on goal setting quite yet.
Right. Yeah.
No, that was usually the action stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a little ways down the road, because most of us, by the time we're going to finally get into recovery, goals are probably one of the last things we're thinking about. But everything else on there, yes, 100% true. They're gathering information. A lot of times they're gathering the information from their family, though, because they've already done it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about working in treatment is you ask on the DSM and in the series of questions you ask, and it tells you, it ranks the way that they answer these questions as whether or not they're in the pre-contemplation stage, contemplation stage, or action stage. Well, almost, I don't know the number, but I would probably say about 80 to 90% of people, if they answer those questions, they're in the action stage, but they're not.
Right.
Just because you're in treatment does not mean you're in the action stage at all.
No, and the sad thing is insurance companies and even people up in corporate, they love to see that. Oh, yeah, you moved them all the way through. They're in action.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now, you know better.
Yeah.
Let's get real, because they're really still in pre-contemplation, but they're here.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, mentally, that's where they're at. They only came to pacify somebody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Like week 2, they coming in, they still don't have any appointments set up for when they get out of here, and got no plan set up. There's no action being taken.
Yeah, and that's you're right, Derek. And the thing is it's they do want that. Like Shane said, they want us when everybody leaves, they should be in the action stage of change. The reality is you can't do that in 17 to 30 days with somebody. You can't.
Right.
absolutely not.
You can have the willingness.
Yes.
You that needs to be there, honesty, open-minded, and willingness. You can instill that willingness. You can set them up with the intensive outpatient, with the follow with the primary care psychiatrist. You could do all those things, but it's up to them to put it into action at that point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, we got an applause.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, when we work with people, I used to sit them down in my office, and you know what's going to happen when the next office comes instead of just my basement office, right? And you'd ask them, what are they willing to do? And they'd say anything. Mm-hmm. And then so you throw a couple of things out there, and they wouldn't do any of them.
I'm not going to do that.
I don't know about that.
Because they really didn't want to take action. They want the prize without playing the game.
Yep.
So can somebody be in a sobriety without actually being in the action stage of recovery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tapping my foot because I don't want.
I mean, I had to speak for myself on this, that I think I was sober for 4 years, but I wasn't into the action stage of my recovery except for the last year and a half of my recovery so far.
It's like being a dry drunk.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not putting any substances into my body, but what am I doing to actually change my attitude and outlook on life?
Right.
Unfortunately, nothing sometimes.
Yeah.
But they're not using, right? So
That's a plus.
sometimes, I mean, it is a plus, but sometimes they're just mean. They're downright mean because they're not throwing anything in their system anymore. And they're not doing anything to change.
Like I said, though, even at being sober, I was still in the contemplation stage of my recovery because I don't need no help. I don't need to see no psychiatrist. I don't need to go see no therapist. Talk to my sponsor. Yeah, hey, how you doing? There, I spoke.
Wave to him from across the room. He's on one side of the auditorium. His sponsor's on the other side of the auditorium.
Give him a nod like, what up? Yeah, I spoke to him.
All right. So action. What is action, D?
This is a stage where individuals actively implement their plan and make the necessary changes. This could involve therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, or other forms of treatment, like family therapy.
Yeah. Now you're talking. Family therapy. That is a fun thing to do. Family therapy is a blast. And I know you said that your family program has grown quite a bit. One that's really fun that all the listeners could hop onto, even if they don't live in Missouri, wherever they're at. Learn to Live out in Herman has a phenomenal Wednesday night family therapy meeting for people to hop on. They do a great job. So we're wanting to take, when we get the building, we're wanting to take some of what they do. We have the same books in that, and really utilize that because of how well. I mean, it's fun. It's fun for me and Christina just to hop on and listen sometimes.
Was it a Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they'll do it. They're in Herman, man. They're not going to make everybody drive out to Herman to get them.
Drive out there.
Folks that you don't know where we're at. So if you look up Herman and then you look up St. Charles County, people, or even St. Louis, people aren't going to just drive out there for a Wednesday night family meeting.
No big deal.
But that's what's neat. They do it all on Zoom, and so they want everybody to have their cameras on. Nobody gets to hide in the dark.
So it's definitely like to do that midweek family therapy session. Yeah, without a doubt.
It's really good.
The word that stuck out to me on this one was implement. Implement is to put a decision or plan into effect. It's more than just a farmer's tool. Yeah. An implement?
Yeah.
That's what you put on the back of like a tractor, like a disc.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I forgot who I'm talking to.
Do either one of us look like farmers?
You grew up in East St. Louis and you grew up in, I don't know, it's all over
St. Charles County, Germany.
Sorry.
Germany was good. Yeah. Germany was good. I mean, it was bad for me, but it was fun.
Yeah. So to put a decision or plan into effect. So you're putting that resolution that you've already done in the previous, stage of change. You're putting that into effect, action.
Sorry, I was taking a drink. Putting a recovery plan in place.
Yes.
Hopefully So we talk a lot about going to treatment, but how does one do a recovery plan that don't go into treatment?
Write it out.
Okay, write it out.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up, that when we do talk to people about their recovery plans, what do? We write it out.
Yeah. Well, you write it out, but I'm just wondering because, like, we sat down with a gentleman in my office. Unfortunately, he went back to his old hometown. Didn't know any other way to put it than that. And I love writing recovery plans with people, but how do they? I'm thinking of a family that has no idea of what to do. They're lost. They're out there. And they come across this podcast. What can they do? How do they get a recovery plan that's going to be successful for their loved one or for them or something like that without going to an expensive treatment center?
Go to Reclaiming Hope.
ReclaimingHope-mo.org.
Yes.
They could go on there. We'll do an assessment for free for you, and we'll
even write out the plan as we go along.
Or you can call them at 636-248-9644.
Man, you know that number better than I do.
I'm telling you.
I love it, man. Jeremy, I know he hands it out like a madman because, I mean, we love meeting with couples. We love meeting with families and watching them get whole again. It's just such a fun journey. We got your people over there now.
Yeah.
Met with them twice and just watching people grow. It was fun doing their session this past week because we were doing active listening. And so assertiveness and active listening. And they actually brought stuff up that mattered. Some people will use such an easy topic when you're teaching them assertiveness and active listening, and they didn't. And then the one of them said, so if I hear you correctly, and went way off base, like we would in real life if we weren't in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
And so then they got to learn how to bring that back real quick. It was beautiful. I loved it.
I love that too.
Yeah.
All right. Maintenance. At the making changes individuals into the maintenance stage where they work to sustain their progress and prevent relapse. This can be a lifelong process. Ooh, lifelong process.
This will be, is what it says.
This will be yes, really.
It don't. It says this can be. So
no, it says it. No, honestly, where I'm reading, it says this will be a lifelong process.
Because on mine it says this can be a lifelong process. Well, can should be will.
Yes, this will be.
Yeah.
I guess there's another thing that I didn't really sustain, that I didn't really care for. I don't want to sustain what I had. I want to strive to be better. I know that's like my goal. Can I wake up and be a better person today than I was yesterday? Well,
yes.
Hopefully I can because I was pretty crappy yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not agreeing with you.
Yeah, you are. It's okay.
I know, yeah. I was like, what is it? Say the only person I had to be better than today is the guy I was yesterday.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should give that to your wife.
Okay.
For the
after the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, not right now.
Yeah. Maintenance is the process of maintaining or preserving someone or something. So it's getting into that action stage right? We're in that action stage and we're actively like, this will be a lifelong process, and you're maintaining that recovery, that positive attitude, that being better than you were yesterday.
Right.
You know, that's something you're striving for every day, and finding a purpose that isn't in what you've done, the things you have, or the job you do.
Finding a purpose outside of all that. Are you asking me a question?
No, I'm just
looking at
no,
me
I was
like,
just saying,
no.
no. No, I'm not.
Like the difference between action and maintenance. Action is going to see a therapist. Maintenance is continually seeing that therapist year, 2 years, whatever down the line.
Well, and then implementing
And implementing.
what you're learning in those sessions.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Yes. That farmer tool.
I swear, and giggles. My mom said she loves his giggles.
Hey, if you're ever in a bad mood, just turn on a podcast and watch Derek. And that's why I'll cut to him sometimes in post, because I'm like, man, if this dude is going to laugh, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to leave it on him while he laughs. And then we could just hear somebody else if we need to. It's good for the
to
soul.
laugh. It is, man.
Yeah, it's good for the soul.
Proverbs, you know, happy heart doeth good like a medicine, man. If I'm laughing all the time, I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
It's when I'm not laughing is when y'all need to be concerned about what's going on in my head. Right?
Oh, don't worry, we are.
Is relapse a part of the recovery process?
Does not have to be.
Here.
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 It does not have to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is for a lot of people, right? But it don't have to be. We don't have to. It does not have to be a part of it. And if it does happen, you could learn something from it. So, I mean, a relapse don't have to be negative. It sucks that you lost your sobriety. It sucks that you have to change your anniversary date. But if you learn something from it and you never go back to that relapse again, and you never go back to using, then grow from it. Grow through what you go through.
Yes.
And I also want to pick up what you just said. Why do you call it anniversaries and not a birthday?
Anniversaries are earned, birthdays are given.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, so my poor wife, earns our anniversary every year on July 18th. She earned another year for being with me, because I'm not an easy person
She needs
to
a
live
chip
with.
for that.
Right. She needs a chip. Yeah. I celebrate that one well with her, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we earn that
Yes.
every year that you're at a job, every year that you do something, you earn that. And to me, we earn, because we have to work our butts off. Recovery is a lot of hard work. It's easy, but it's hard work.
Speaking of which, I've been into this recovery center for almost a year now. I have not, outside of working at the church, I don't know when was the last time I had a job that really went a whole year. And I'm just about to come up on it. So I'm about to have my work anniversary come up real soon here.
Good.
And you were at the church for a while, but you started right before COVID.
Yes. So
So then you had a
they couldn't
vacation.
actually fire me then because that would just been wrong.
Oh, they could have. Yeah, they didn't.
How'd you get fired during COVID?
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you get fired on your day off?
So one of the things I teach though at work is I take recovery like working out. We work out and we start off light and we push and build it stronger and stronger. Times come where we relapse in our laziness of working out, just like relapse can happen in the thing, but we have that muscle memory. So that goes on to the next stage of after the relapse, what's next? You're not
Recovery.
looking recovery.
We've already touched on it.
Because you have that muscle memory.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you've worked the program, you know what you got to do. Relapse does not have to be a part of it, but if it is, it's not a failure.
Mm-hmm.
You've learned everything before, you know what you got to do. You have that muscle memory from the recovery program you've been working, get back into it.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple. I don't want to say that simple, but yeah, it's really just that simple.
Yeah. And kudos to the men and women out there that are able to get this on their first try.
Yes.
And I just want to say that because I was definitely not one of those people. I mean, going back to AA, I mean, Bill W., who wrote the book, as we know, the big Alcoholics Anonymous, I mean, in his story, it's period of sobriety relapse, period of sobriety relapse, period of sobriety relapse, making all these promises and signing his Bible and, you know, all this to his wife, Lois. And so, I mean, the man who wrote this story couldn't get it right for a long time. And I mean, I mean, AA has saved how many millions of lives now? So,
Saved them and changed them.
yep.
Saved them and changed them. Yeah,
Saved and changed.
it's crazy to think the founder, one of the founders of AA, had such a hard time with sobriety. But by the time they created Alcoholics Anonymous, and now that we have so many people in it, if we will just humble ourselves, put the pride aside, hang that stuff up on a shelf, we will be successful. If we will be willing to take suggestions from another man, having another man suggesting how we should live our life and set aside our pride, it's kind of like we won't argue in my house if I choose not to. If I set my pride aside and just pay attention to my wife, we won't argue. If I set my pride aside and I could take suggestions from a man and be willing, I'll be successful.
It's the hardest thing to do as a man, just because of what we're taught to.
Yes.
I mean, we're raised. I mean, you can watch old John Wayne movies, or Dirty Harry. I just like the man is supposed to never cry. The man's not supposed to share his feelings, and I don't need to burden you, Shane, with my problems. I'm not burdening, especially in addiction recovery. You are not burdening the other individual that you're trying to confide in.
No. Matter of fact, you're helping save their life.
Exactly, and I just wish everybody knew that. And it's like, your way, how many times do we have to prove to ourselves that our way will not work?
But question for you. We know these things, but yet when crap hits the fan, how many times do we pick up the phone and call? How many times, by the time we are where we are, how many times do we really pick up the phone and call? You guys seen a text that I sent out the other day? Derek asked me about it today. I didn't pick up the phone and call because I'll figure it out. That's where the problem could come in, is we have to remain surrendered. We can't just surrender at the beginning. We have to remain surrendered. And it's easy for us to take that back. Jesus, give me the wheel back. You remember, I'm a good driver. I don't know how many cars I've totaled, but Jesus, give me the wheel. Come on now. And so we have to remain humble. We have to remain willing to keep reaching out. Because I know we've all at this table have gone through things and not reached out. So.
Yeah, apologies that it took me 2 days to actually say something to you about that text. But knowing you as an individual, I'd have called and said, hey, is everything all right? You're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Like, okay.
Except for you would have been able to call me out. I tried to recall the text, but I realized it went to the wrong person, I guess too late, and I wasn't able to recall. But yeah, I mean, and that was an argument between me and Christina that if I wouldn't have engaged in, it wouldn't have happened. But you see, my pride, my ego told me, you're justified. Go ahead and let your pride go loose. And then, of course, I have to make my amends for it. And
answer your podcast crew for the text.
Yeah. It makes it rough, but that's what recovery is. I mean, we have to be willing to do these things for good, not for this short period of time until we get a little bit of sobriety under our belt. Now I don't have to do any of it. This is a daily, this is a lifelong process.
Always remain teachable.
Yes.
A great way to be. I couldn't imagine
Excuse me.
any other way. I love learning. That's why I've had fun with this stuff.
Yeah.
When I sit over here and have all these shiny buttons, it's really hard. Like right now, I switched to you early, and
Yeah. No. He's attracted to bright, shiny things.
I need to change the colors.
Sorry, I'm selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace right now. My phone's blowing up.
It makes it rough when you're getting ready to move.
Oh, yeah.
But let me ask you something, Jeremy, if you don't mind.
Oh boy.
So recovery has looked pretty good on you, right? I remember you said outside the other night when Christine and I came over, how was your credit when you got into recovery? How is it now that you've been in recovery? Let's talk about one of the things. This is one of those benefits, right?
The positive things that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I, being the alcoholic and addict I used to have excellent credit. I bought several houses and financed cars and a motorcycle and all this stuff. And I never had any issue with credit. And then there was a period in my life after my divorce where I just I didn't care anymore. And so and I didn't have the money because honestly, alcohol was more important to me than paying my credit card bills. So I would rack up that credit card until I was limited out on my alcohol. That's the stuff I did. And so then I just said, I'll just never pay those things back. Well, then, fast forward 7 years and I meet my wife, Amy, and which I wasn't looking for. I was not looking to get married ever again. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. I was not looking for anybody. And then she walked into my life and changed all of that. And then it's taken me the better part of 4 years. But now when they told me my credit score, when we were getting pre-approved for the house, I started crying.
Now, I know it's a big surprise that he cried. But
he giggles, I cry. Okay.
There it is. See, you get it. So, yeah, I mean, that's just one of those blessings that we get. One of the many things that when we get into recovery and we start changing everything changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's neat. Christina's the same way. I mean, went from here to here when it comes to that. And
yeah,
it's fun to watch every aspect of a life change because it's not just not drinking. We talk about it all the time. Every week we probably said it. It's this much of what we do. But it's about paying our bills.
And to me, it's really more than that because I've had to rely on Amy for everything financially. And that's talk about a pride hit and an ego hit, and here's the deal. I outpunted my coverage with Amy and I will probably never do as well career-wise as she does. But I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. But,
Yeah.
but I remember when we bought the house that we're in right now, that we're all sitting in, like she had to do everything. Like it was her name on everything. And I always joke and I said, I couldn't have financed a 2x4 from Home Depot. I mean, that's how bad it was.
I usually say stale bologna sandwich, but 2x4 from Home Depot works for the people that go there.
Yeah.
And so now I'm getting to, because I know this stresses her out. This whole, that's her love. Her fear is money, right? And so the fact that I can take all of this burden from her and kind of, it's both of us doing it together. I feel like I'm actually doing this with my bride.
And contributing,
yes. Yeah. And it feels good to be able to contribute to the relationship.
I think all of us here at this table, married up and married women that we probably won't match in salaries.
No.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Finally.
We get to sit here in recovery and enjoy the blessings that God has given us.
Mm-hmm. Even I know we don't piggyback, but even off what Jeremy was saying,
You could piggyback. This ain't a group.
being able to contribute. My wife's going to Vegas next month for a book fair because she loves to read. Now, 2 years ago, even in my sobriety, she would not have been able to go to that because, she paid for everything. But now I have a career in my, that I truly started working my recovery. I have a career. Mm-hmm. I'm contributing more to the house, and now she can actually have that time for herself. And me, I'm 100% behind it. Don't let me kick you on the way out the door, man. Enjoy your trip,
Hey, man, I hope you enjoy the couch.
Well,
as soon as she watches, that's where you'll be.
No, I joke around with my wife a lot, man. But not just that, with the relationship with my wife. Back to we were talking about the recovery of the home, but the relationship with my daughters, and that even where it's at right now, it's way beyond what it ever was in the last 12 years of my addiction. The relationship with my brother, we spoke about a couple podcasts back. Because of my recovery, not just my sobriety, but actually working my recovery, that relationship's grown to, just beyond, really. It's really there's no equal to the way that relationship has grown over in just the last year plus. Mm-hmm. So, more to the just being sober, guys. You got to work the recovery program of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Without a doubt. National Recovery Month.
Yes.
I think every month should be National Recovery Month, but I'm sure people would get tired of hearing it. Some resources that we could give people. One, just speaking, but we'll throw some stuff in show notes. I know we love talking about show notes. I try to throw as much stuff in there as possible each week. reclaiminghope-mo.org. You could send, there's a form in there for you or for a loved one to fill out. We get that. We call you up. We'll set up a meeting for you and get you squared away. If you're struggling with mental health or suicide, let's put it that way, 988, call or text. And then, of course, I'll put the actual link to it, but I think it's 988something.org. I was on the website last night, so that way you could actually do even a chat online, so you don't have to actually speak to somebody. There are many types of recovery. We're always going to try to point people to the 12 steps because we know that's what changed our lives and has changed millions upon millions of lives.
Right.
But there's a lot of different types of recovery.
That's one thing I tell people about the 12-step program. It worked for me because I learned from someone who it worked for, who learned from someone who it worked for, who learned from someone who it worked for, you know. So that's what worked for us.
Yeah, one day we're going to have to get a sponsor tree, family reunion together and have some fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to watch how big those are, you know. But you have to find a higher power if you're going to make this work. If it's the group, if it's nature, we would love for it to be Jesus. That's what we would want for you. We would love for it to be. But if it's not, get something greater than you.
Amen.
Yes. You know, there's been a couple of buddies of ours too that straight up said that their first higher power was the group.
Yep.
But they're coming around more to their faith.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a couple of individuals I go to meetings with have said that to me.
Yep.
So.
Well, I could tell you the person that we had on here, the first interview we did, Mike.
Yes.
It was funny because back then he was more teetering on a fence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't wait for him to come back on. I know him and Steve are going to be switching up off and on.
If you
and
want Mike on this program, you know, give us contact us. Let us know what you feel about Mike.
I don't want him on here.
I wasn't pointing at you. I'm pointing at the camera.
But yeah, it's good to see the transformation within people as they grow. So anybody that got anything for the good of the whole for closing? I see Jeremy, he's going to look up some scripture, I bet.
Yes, Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, hey, there's more to your recovery than just being sober. You have to get back. You have to work these programs. You need any help, contact us, awakensober.org or Reclaiming Hope
-mo.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
That we're never going to get tired of saying that, are we?
No.
Hey, look, we love you. We're glad that you joined us. God bless you guys and have a good week.
Amen. See you guys.
Peace.